Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There's also a rollout backlog. The U.S. has distributed 56 million doses of the vaccine. Less than 34 million have been administered. CVS, the latest chain to announce in-store vaccines. The U.S. is shipping 1 million vaccines next week to 6,500 pharmacies. That's barely 154 doses per store. 8% of Americans have now gotten their first shot, but reaching minority communities remains a vaccine roadblock.
Are they vaccinating enough people of color?
We really need to do much better.
Yeah, but there's a lot that goes into that. Let's take the Hispanic, Latino community, whether you're from, Mexico or Central America, some hesitance. Why is that? Well, first of all, look at their government, right? That's the governments they've come from. They don't trust their governments. Secondly, there is some machismo. My grandfather was like, when this thing first started, he passed away a few months ago. When this thing first started, not of COVID, by the way. I know it makes a difference, apparently. But we would talk about this, and he's like, I don't know if I'm going to get it. I'm like, okay. My grandfather was born and raised in Mexico. My uncle talks about whether or not he'll get it. I understand that there's something about that. On the other side of things, when it comes to the black community, yeah, there's distrust. There is. There's distrust, and there's a reason and an understanding of, why there should be some distrust or hesitancy. But the reality is there's a lot of people out there, white as well, who are thinking, you know what, might not get this.
1 in 4 Americans say they will likely never get a COVID vaccine, according to a new Monmouth poll, and partisanship is a good indicator of whether people are for or against getting it. 72% of Democrats want the vaccine immediately. Only 39% of Republicans express that same urgency, but still half of Americans, a poll says, plan to get the vaccine as soon as it's available to them.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into this. It's not just black, white, Hispanic. There is a lot that goes into it. Partisanship is absolutely something that is real. 100%. You still have a lot of people out there, Republicans, who are like, it's no more worse than the flu. It's not a big deal. And some people think it's a hoax. Case in point, a supermarket. Check out this supermarket. They welcome the anti-masker. They welcome the anti-masker. Think about that right now. They welcome it.
The scene inside Oaks Farm's seed-to-table market, taken less than 24 hours ago, shows employees and customers, young and old, almost entirely without masks. The sign out front outlines if you have a medical condition that prevents you from wearing a mask, you are exempt. The owner, Alfie Oaks, made it clear
you don't think masks work and that the virus is not a real thing, a hoax.
I know that the masks don't work, and I know that the virus has not killed 400,000 people in this country. That's total hogwash.
Now, in fairness, I think when we look back, was it the thing that pushed people over the edge who had pre-existing conditions? There's no doubt about it. Has it been, when you break down people who had no pre-existing conditions that were absolutely fine, and then they got this and died, will that number look inherently different? Yes, it will. Doesn't mean it's not real. So the not taking the vaccine, for a lot of people, there's a lot of things. There are people out there religious. Fine. People out there who believe that the DNA that is going to be altered because of it, or they got a chip and they're going to follow you. It's stuff like that. You're like, okay, whatever. But there's also a lot of people out there who are cautious. Want to see it work for a while. We've talked about it before. My buddy Chris Green, who was lived next door to me in England. I used to fly back and forth from England to America all the time, and he and I would. I'd say, Chris, when are you going next? Because I got to go home for a week or two. I got to go do some stuff and see my family. And he said, I'm going next week. And then he goes, why don't you fly with me? And it was great. But he and I would talk about it all the time. Never get on an airplane the first year. He says, I never want to fly. We saw what happened with the MAX. Let it get its bugs out. A lot of people are cautious like that. They want to let it get its bugs out. They want to see it work. If it's working, it cuts things down. People feel good. You know what? Okay, nobody's grown a tail, nobody's exploded, third eye, none of that stuff. We're good to go. And there is partisanship still. But at the end of the day, this is still a pain in our ass in our country. And it's not just that the mask and all of these things. We ask the question over and over again, when is this going to be over? When are we going to find some? Because now we're hearing, well, okay, by the way, you get your shot, then you get your second shot or your first shot, whatever it is. Hey, you're still going to have to wear a mask. Well, okay, which is the one where I get the shot and I don't have to wear a mask? That's what I want to know. Where's that?
Signs of a vaccine breakthrough. Researchers in the UK saying the AstraZeneca vaccine may slow the transmission of COVID, and a single dose is 76% effective. It's still not available here in the U.S. It's in late-stage trials, but has not been approved by the FDA. Former CDC Director Tom Frieden.
The AstraZeneca company has not provided the kind of transparent information that the other companies have, but it has some very favorable characteristics.
So it's in the UK. Why we're not using it is because, like everything else, we need to ask more questions about it. We want to see certain things, and that's fine. That's why we have lawyers and the FDA, the CDC, and all kinds of regulations. And yes, do we go too far? But in a situation like this, that's what I want to hear. Okay, so this one slows it down. So I might be able to take that one and be done with it. And I'm okay with risk. And I think that's, at the end of the day, I think we're all looking for the individual to make the decision, but also to understand if you don't want to take it, that's fine too, but are you okay with the risk? Because as much as people say that, you and I both know that's not always true. We say, oh, we're okay with the risk. And then when something happens, we're like, well, you should have told us all of the risk. So we'll see. We'll see. But end of the day, this is what we want. Give me the thing. Show me the thing that is going to be the game changer. I still think it's Johnson & Johnson, and it's pretty simple. It's one shot, and it's convenient. I get one shot, and it's convenient. Even people that are hesitant, a lot of their hesitancy I talk to is, I don't want to deal with the hassle of trying to fill stuff out, trying to make an appointment, then getting done through this entire website only to be kicked out. And so going to a place like your doctor where it's quick, it's easy, will, I think, help a lot of people where you can ask your doctor questions. Hey, doc, I'm a little bit worried about this. And you have a relationship with your doctor. They'll say, hey, you know what? I've took it. It's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You trust. Going to a parking lot that the state has set up gives people a little worry, a little caution. I understand that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Last night, Crazy didn't get voted out. And I'm only going to touch on this because she's crazy. I don't care what anybody says. And you can yell at me. Oh, my God, I can't believe it's it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is nuts. Sorry. There you go. I said it. How they kept her in power. Somebody tweeted at me last night and said, Chad, how would you handle this? Pretty simple. I would go to her and say, here's the deal. We're pulling you off all of these things. This is not what our party's all about. We're not going to expel you from Congress. We're not going to do any of those things. You're going to vote when we tell you to vote. You're going to play nice when we tell you to play nice. And if you can start to turn the corner on some of this stuff, then we can have a conversation later. Until then, that's what is going to happen. Not Kevin McCarthy.
If we are now going to start judging.
Yes, we are.
What other members have said before they're even members of Congress, I think it's going to be a hard time for the Democrats to place anybody on committee.
Well, very much so. Look, I continue to say this. I look at somebody like AOC who plays a part, and she plays it extremely well. And now you've got two women who are in positions where they can be high profile in both the Fox News, Newsmax, OAN world, and MSNBC, CNN, and New York Times have chances to play them up against each other. The fact that nobody called AOC out over the fact she what did she say to Ted Cruz? You tried to have me murdered? Shut up. But you have a chance here to make a statement. And I'm a big proponent of holding your own accountable. Holding your own accountable. And then McCarthy also lies.
I think it would be helpful if you could hear exactly what she told all of us, denouncing QAnon. I don't know if I say it right. I don't even know what it is. Any from the shootings. She said she knew nothing about lasers or all the different things that have been brought up about her.
But she talked about him. So that was a face-off? That was somebody else who had her face? And we're going to talk about face-off because speaking of QAnon, they've gone to a level now that is spectacular. It is so spectacular. I'm so excited to talk about it. It is this guy from New York talking about QAnon and some of the stuff that's out there right now. And my belief is, at this point in time, it's people in Hollywood just going, all right, let's see what we can get them to do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot of stuff to squeeze today. Prop bets, Super Bowl, pumped. Few days away. Super Bowl, let's talk about the prop bets. All kinds of stuff. What kind of Gatorade will be dumped on the coach who wins? What kind of hat will the coach wear? How many times will Belichick be named? Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Lots of prop bets. Always fun. More on the economy, because that is something that we're all trying to figure out what's going on with the economy. A lot of people are feeling somewhat confident about it, but I think a lot of that has to do with, are we going to actually get through this thing, kids get back in school, things of that nature. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. Bill themselves the conservative alternative. They're out there fighting for free speech, common sense, immigration reform, your Second Amendment. On top of that, they go out and they do really great things and work with both parties, making sure things like Social Security and Medicare are solvent and they're stable for their members. They got tons of benefits from the retail, the restaurant. Like when you travel, they got so many travel benefits. They got life insurance, discounts, and you name it, they have got it. If you're under 65, they got great benefits, discounts for tons and tons of insurance companies to help you. You're over 50, under 65. And if you need help filling out Medicare, Social Security, you're not quite sure what to do, they can walk you through all the steps. Join today at $16 a year. AMAC.US/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
Just like the CDC told us not to play loud music on New Year's Eve because people might sing along and spread those treacherous COVID droplets when they do, the CDC now says we should not cheer, shout, or sing on Sunday night when we're watching the game. Jazz hands and quiet snapping are okay, but cheering against the rules. Of course, I'm being just a little sarcastic if you didn't pick up on it. Just some more great, very realistic, very human, very American advice coming from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. Enjoy the game.
And cheer responsibly. Yeah, so we got to do that, apparently, which I'm not going to do. I don't go to Super Bowl parties. A lot of reasons. One, I love to watch the game. I know it's the last game of the year. I'm not going to see football till August next year. So I'm going to have 6 months where, there'll be talk of football, free agency, trades, and you'll have the combine and the draft. But the reality is, suited up game time isn't coming for several months. I want to watch the game. I don't want to go to parties. I like to have my food, have, my family around or whatever, but I watch the game. I sit down and I enjoy it. I don't watch it first of all, it used to be a lot of people would watch it for the commercials. My thing with that now is most of the commercials, they're released before the damn thing's even played. You get a few that aren't, but in the halftime show, I don't care. It's fine. It's great, but I watched the game. And I like that, to kind of do it in peace and quiet. Same thing when I watch the World Cup. I like to watch the game in the peace and quiet. So, just me. I know I'm an odd cat. Betting, prop bets, love it. We're going to be talking about these throughout the day. Let's go over some of the prop bets that are going to be available. So, what a prop bet is, I'm going to break it down to you. It's kind of the silly things, right? We would think, well, like an over-under is a prop bet. Over 150 points combined in a basketball game or something like that in college. These are different. So here are a few of the great prop bets that are available. National anthem. Jasmine Sullivan and Eric Church are going to be singing the national anthem before Super Bowl 55. This is the first duo to perform it since Aretha Franklin and Aaron Neville sang the Star Spangled Banner. They did it in 2 minutes and 8 seconds, 2006. Minus 145. National anthem under 1 minute, 59 seconds. 1 minute, 59 seconds. Here's another one. Tom Brady and Mahomes, quarterbacks, obviously, stars, absolutely. 10th Super Bowl for Brady, second Super Bowl in a row for Mahomes. Minus 160, Tom Brady shown before Patrick Mahomes during the national anthem. So during the actual anthem, are they going to show Brady before they show Mahomes? Because, they're all standing there, and who are they going to show? Oh, I just love this stuff. And, of course, we got so many more. We'll do one more real quick one here. Coin toss. Going tails never fails. All right? Let's just say tails never fails. 50-50 odds. Coin toss results, heads, minus 103. So there you go. Just a few. We'll have a ton more prop bets. I'll give you my pick tomorrow. Break it down. I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's a little different feel this year. There's going to be fans, but it's still, there hasn't been the chaos that we normally get when we have, like media day and you get somebody show up in a wedding dress and go, will you marry me, Tom Brady? But we don't get a lot of that because it's just been kind of, even media day was like Zoom calls, and it just felt like it was, you were watching a corporate meeting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. This,
you know what ticks me off? QAnon
is coming up, and I will tell you this. They've taken it to a new level. Two names. Nicolas Cage, John Travolta. Cage Travolta. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The issue is not, I think, going below $75,000 for an individual or $150,000 for a couple. The issue is that there is some spillover. If you have kids, that families making $250,000 or $300,000 may end up getting some assistance. And I think we can eliminate that. But the truth of the matter is these income levels are based on people's income of a year ago or even 2 years ago. Many of those people are hurting today. And the truth is, you could be a family making $125,000 with a bunch of kids. You are struggling today.
Yeah, and it depends where you live. You live in Northern California, San Francisco, Mateo, the Bay, wherever it is up there. You live there, make $200,000 a year. People are like, that's amazing. Not. You're struggling to find a place to live. It's tough because you got taxes. Eat up a lot of that. You're walking and you're like, wow. But for many of you listening, you're thinking of $200,000 in Tulsa. You're thinking of $200,000 in Gainesville. This is different. But that's a few small places. People need assistance. People already worried. Has he already broken a promise? He said he was going to get $2,000 checks out, and he might not be Biden because it might be just an extra $1,400. They're going to go back and forth. This is what negotiation looks like. This is how it's going to play out. At the end of the day, they're going to get money out to people. That's the reality. How much is going to go to the states at this moment in time? I don't know. because that's a lot of what the sticking points are, is the amount of dollars going to the states. And as we rewind this thing, like I told you a month and a half, 2 months ago, oh, they're doing $900 billion in, extra $900 billion is going to go out and people are going to get more checks. I said they're going to come back and they're going to ask for more. They will probably do the same because with the way the coronavirus is, the fact that it's still out there and it's looming large, and now we have new variants, even though we're getting needles in arms to people, some people have recovered and they're right now able to, for all intents and purposes, not have to worry too much about catching it again because it's very rare. We're still in a position where it's lingering over not only us and the health side of things, but our economy. And if you don't think they're going to come back in June when we don't hit the goals that we wanted to hit and we don't do the things that we needed to do as far as some of the states, and they're going to ask for more money, they're not going to ask for more money, you're fooling yourself. They're totally going to do it. They are. Joe Manchin.
If it's 1.9 trillion, so be it. If it's a little smaller than that, and we find a targeted need, and that's what we're going to do. But I want it to be bipartisan. If they think that they're going to basically just shove it down people's throats, that's not going to happen. Chuck Schumer said yesterday on the floor, he said this is going to be a bipartisan process. We encourage a bipartisan process. That means Democrats and Republicans will have amendments. If it's 1.9 trillion, so be it.
Could be 1.6, could be 1.7. Could be 1.9. And the way that they're going to work this, like I said, this is the beauty of negotiations and things that we don't see behind. I'd love to pull this, this little story out, but if you ever read the book about Charlie Wilson, here's a guy that is a congressman in a dead red state, but he's a Democrat in a pretty red area too, and yet he lived large. Because he would basically, how you want me to vote? Well, I want that. And because of that, he had enough IOUs that when it was time to do something big and he saw what was going on in Afghanistan, he helped the Afghanis as well as all of the warriors that were coming from all over the world get everything they need to fight the Russians because he had so many IOUs. Remember when they did? Yeah. So when it comes to this, some Republicans might say, fine, but you know what we're going to do? When it comes time for an infrastructure bill, you want to build those bridges over there? No, we're going to need them over here in my state. Oh. So there's always give and take. We don't see it, but it'll happen. How much of it, though, right now with this is playing out big because it's checks immediately to the American people? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. The big sticking point I still think for the Republicans is the monies to the blue states. And I think that's the one they're going to have to give in on. But I'm holding out that, you know what, you make sure that you get something big in return when infrastructure comes for your states and make sure that there is no more monies coming to bail them out in the future. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. This guy is spectacular. I think his name is Iculus the Brave. He's on Twitter. And he goes on and he looks at the QAnon stuff because he was just curious about it, and so he's been on monitoring some of this stuff. So where we've come from, all the stuff we've talked about it, we've relived some of the insanity. Even the other day, the whole craziness with the QAnon person talking to Anderson Cooper, right?
Did you at the time believe that high-level Democrats and celebrities were worshiping Satan, drinking the blood of children?
Anderson, I thought you did that, and I would like to apologize for that right now. So I apologize for thinking that you ate babies.
Yeah, so he doesn't, by the way, eat babies. And he's also not a robot, as they also went on to say that they claimed. So now we've got something new. So this one is I don't even know, I've heard, I always think this has got to be a joke, but then I get people sending me stuff every day. And I'm like, I asked one guy the other day, I'm like, do you really believe this? Oh, it's absolutely true. I'm like, man, you've sent me 6,000 things, and all of them have been a lie. But you still go back to the well. So the latest one, delivered in fine fashion, by the way, by a guy from New York who, well, he's spectacular.
You know what ticks me off? QAnon. That's what. QAnon. I don't need to explain anything. I'm just going to read you something that should make any rational person run away in flames because this is off the charts wacko shit. What I'm about to read you was posted on January 13th, 1 week before the inauguration. Here it is, word for word. It's short, so just hang in there for 30 seconds, okay? Here we go.
Okay, here we go. 30 seconds. I said earlier, 2 words. Cage, Travolta. That's all you need to know.
Joe Biden has been arrested. The deep state is in disarray and has struck a deal with the Trump administration. There will be an experimental surgery that will exchange the faces of Biden and Trump. This isn't even the insane part. Oh, it gets better. You ready? Here we go. So when you watch Biden's inauguration, you'll really be watching Trump being sworn in for a second term. And when you are watching the Trump trials, that is really Biden paying for his crimes. Also, when Trump, as Biden, stammers or slurs his words, that's because Trump is still learning to duplicate his speech patterns. Now, what I just read, which was a social media post by QAnon, actually isn't the thing that disturbs me.
So, let's just go over the fact that these people are nuts. Face Off. They think it's Face Off. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Face Off. Face Off. Face Off. So it took your face, and the surgery is so amazing that you don't even know. But wait, kids. Wait. It's better.
Crazy people are crazy people. They've been around forever. You know what disturbs me? The completely insane and stupid people who can actually believe something like this for 1 second. Has a certain portion of our society become so tainted and weak and desperate and delusional that they could actually believe something like this? There are people who believe that Trump and Biden have reached an agreement to swap faces surgically so Trump can be president and Biden can be tried for his crimes. I don't even know where to begin with something like this. I mean, holy almighty.
1997 was the year. The movie Face Off came out, starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, directed by action hero superstar director John Woo. Likes to do a lot of stuff in slow motion. Travolta plays an FBI agent, and Cage plays a terrorist. Sworn enemies who assume each other's physical appearance. That's what happens. Crazy, right? Gets better. 6 years later, Archer, right? Sean Archer. He's the FBI special agent, played by, but keeping track here? John Travolta. Has a vendetta against Troy, who is the bad guy played by Nicolas Cage, who is a freelance terrorist and homicidal sociopath. His name is Castro Troy. What happens? Well, craziness, chaos. They goad each other into all kinds of lunacy, right? With bombs located somewhere in the city that's going to go off in the next few days. But then all of a sudden, something happens. And the FBI agent is knocked into a coma. I mean, the bad guy's knocked into a coma. So what's that mean? Well, we got to figure out. We got to find out where these bombs are. There's only one way to do it. How can we do it? There's only one way we can do it. I'll have to assume his identity by having a face off. And I'll have to take his face. And then I'll have to assume his identity. And I'll have to find out where everything is. Hey, guys, forgot where the bomb was. You guys remember that? Yeah. But you have to learn his mannerisms, the whole 9 yards. This movie was so awful and bad, it was incredible. Budget was $80 million, made $245 million worldwide. It was the 11th highest grossing film of 1997. Sound effects editing, it was nominated for an Academy Award. Face off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. There's people out there that literally buy into this. So I talk about my uncle. My uncle and I are best friends, and we have business together, and we're partners in a bunch of stuff. And he goes on there to see. He's like, dude, it can't be. He goes, he's telling me, he's like, there are people that believe this. I'm like, I told you. He goes, I can't. It's like they're writing a script for movies, and they're like, how much more outlandish can we go? And then they go there. Oh, my Lord. Can't believe it. No deep state here. Super Bowl on Sunday. We're going through some of the prop bets. These are what you can bet on, all kinds of, different things that have nothing to do in particular with the actual game itself. The Weeknd is part of the prop bet. First song to be played will be plus 250, Pray For Me. The big favorite is Blinding Lights, or as they say, a.k.a. the song that's been grossly overplayed during Pepsi's Super Bowl halftime show commercials. So there you go. Want to bet on The Weeknd and what song will be played first. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Speaking of music, Raycons, you listen to your music amazingly with your Raycons, the best around. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and quite frankly, the absolute best fit in the entire world. I mean, I love the way it feels because it separates itself in such a way from this that you have no idea how incredible when you put these on. It is just otherworldly. Because I live in headphones. Today I have 2 conference calls I have to make. Video. I'll be wearing them. You won't see wires or stems because there is none. E25s are amazing. They're comfortable. They start well under $100. Again, 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, noise isolating fit. What are you waiting for? Different styles, colors, and they got all kinds of different ones that are available. Check out all the products. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Start well under $100. Save yourself an extra 15%. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
I think he's got a little frog in him, man. I think the guy's got a little frog. He's already got the voice of a frog. So who knows, man? Maybe he'll get a kiss from a princess and turn into a knight. Who knows, man? The guy's nuts.
Travis Kelce. They said, what's Mahomes' spirit animal? Frog. Frog is the spirit animal for Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs do have an issue, and the issue is they have a barber that came and cut hair. He'd been tested a bunch because it's all about the look, right? It's a different world now. The look is it's important. These guys, like we talked about the fact that when the NBA had their bubble, they had a barbershop that everybody kind of agreed, like these 2 or 3 barbers, they cut everybody's hair in the NBA and they fly them and they take them with them. Ronaldo has he has a stylist. I mean, it's so much about off-field image. This guy apparently tested positive, so now some of their players, well, they're in the protocol.
I hope that one, it wasn't a positive test for either one of them, and I hope that it's they stay COVID free. They go through the protocol. I kind of mentioned it before, man. I can only imagine. I don't even want to imagine what it would be to have to miss the Super Bowl because of COVID. And, hopefully our guys, my brothers can get back into the locker room and on the field and get out there because it wouldn't feel right going into a Super Bowl without those guys.
Travis Kelce, Chiefs, tight end. talking about potentially missing the Super Bowl because of COVID, which would just be. When do you stop testing? Because remember, was it Turner from the Dodgers this year? They pulled him in the middle of the game that they won it all, but he supposedly had tested and they knew. But if you tested the morning of and Brady and Mahomes had both, one of them was positive, you think that you're going to stop Brady from getting out there? Hell no. Could you imagine Michael Jordan going, oh, by the way, I know you're asymptomatic, you don't feel very good, but he's going to play. He's going to play. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. 1 in 4 Americans say they will not get the vaccine, period. Case closed, no matter what. They're not getting it. Is the reason? I think it's going to cause your DNA to change. I think you are going to be, chipped and followed, religious, allergies, or you just don't do that. I think there's a lot of it that goes into it. We know crazy's always around. I think there's more to it. And some of it, I think, is distrust of government and convenience. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The number of Americans filing first-time claims for unemployment benefits dropped last week by more than analysts here on Wall Street were expecting. 779,000 Americans were laid off and filed new claims for unemployment benefits. But the hope is the labor market will start to stabilize as coronavirus cases come down and states and cities start to ease restrictions.
Yeah, states and cities are easing restrictions. Coronavirus numbers are coming down. They're worried about another spike because of the new variants. I'm not too worried about it. We're getting people vaccinated, which is important. We're also at a point where I think so many people have been exposed far more because of the asymptomatic and people that have had it, that too will, just because of the numbers, will slow this thing down. Now it's the rebuild and the way that this is going to happen. Some places, as bad as California has been run, and it's been run poorly, and Gavin Newsom's in a lot of trouble, and there's a chance that they're going to have a chance at recalling him. And I've been through a recall. We recalled Gray Davis, and we put the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in charge of everything. But that's a chance. Thing about California is it's tech heavy. Tech's done well. There'll be some rebounding there quicker, just like with housing prices. You live on the coast, you live on Malibu, the market has a slump. It comes back much quicker there than a lot of other places. But some places learned from their mistakes in 2008. Arizona, Doug Ducey, the way he's handled this at times has been, well, I haven't been a fan of it for a lot of reasons. He got really involved with Trump, wanted to be, I think he was hoping to be the labor secretary or something. He wanted a cabinet position rather than be the government, and he just kind of went AWOL. In fact, even now, with the numbers turning around, he hasn't had a press conference or anything about anything or talked to anybody in like 50 plus days. But he did do a lot to keep it open. And because of that, a place like Arizona that got destroyed in 2008 doesn't have that steep climb to get back to where they were. We're in a pretty good position. There are still people hurting out there. Some states will take longer. Some states are going to rebound faster. But the good news is a majority of Americans are feeling good about this year. And there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, last year was so awful, right? Right? Like if you're the Detroit Lions, remember a few years ago they went 0-16? We're feeling good about next year. Yeah. You win 5 games, like it's a hell of a turnaround. You still may be the worst team in the league, but you're not 0-16. There is only one way to go, and that is up. So for a lot of people, the perspective of what took place with their finances and everything, getting themselves back on track, I think they feel confident that that's going to happen because they feel like, well, we've already had the absolute worst. And now states are at a point where citizens have stopped listening to them. One of the things about California is like Nobody was listening to anybody. My sister, she works in a hair salon. I'm like, were you closed? She's like, no. She goes, we were for a while. But then we're at the point where it's like, no, we can't do it anymore. We're opening up. And I go, and nobody said anything. Some states were harder. Other states ignored, but pretended like they were doing something. But I think for a lot of people, as frustrated as they have been, as angry as they have been on the partisan political lines of mask, no mask, the whole 9 yards, you watch. We're going to take off. We're going to rebound in a much better way. Doesn't mean that certain moves throughout the administration and in the states when it comes to laws and regulations can't slow us down outside of the coronavirus. But I think a lot of people are feeling comfortable about moving forward. And we're talking about the economy. That's the thing that we all participate in. It's the economy, stupid. It is. And Obama, an okay thing with the economy. I mean, you go and look, if you're honest with yourself, which most people want, you go and look and see how the economy is done under the presidents. And what we like in this country is a bit of moderation. We like it when the Republicans have the House and have and the Senate. And we like that. And then a president that's a Democrat, because they have to work together. You saw that with Clinton. Clinton got his ass handed to him. He's like, well, I got to figure it out. Move to the center. We'll get this thing done. Him and Newt came together, contract with America, and it went for gangbusters. So I think we're in a good position. I think unemployment will come down a little bit more. There's still going to be people out there struggling, trying to dig out, but I think it will happen. And then you've got the actual virus itself and getting as many people vaccinated as possible. And for some, they're just not.
1 in 4 Americans say they will likely never get a COVID vaccine, according to a new Monmouth poll, and partisanship is a good indicator of whether people are for or against getting it. 72% of Democrats want the vaccine immediately. Only 39% of Republicans express that same urgency, but still half of Americans, a poll says, plan to get the vaccine as soon as it's available to them.
And I think a few reasons for the vaccine hesitant. Yes, you're going to have the QAnon people, DNA and then that stuff. You're going to have people who are just hesitant. And for a lot of people, it's a trust thing. Like it is a trust thing. Going to State Farm or Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium to get vaccinated by a nameless, faceless kind of person that you roll through in your car, and it feels there's a militarization of it almost. There's a distrust there in some ways. People are hesitant about this. Going to your doctor, who kind of knows you, little ins and outs of you, you feel more trust with that. You can ask them, okay, doc, tell me the truth. Right? Yeah, it's good. I've taken it. You feel better about that. You feel better about this. One time I interviewed Sully. You guys remember Sully? He's the guy that landed on the Hudson River in the old big airplane there. Became a hero. And we were talking about people have fear of flying. And we got, this was just us chatting. And he says, you don't know the person flying the plane. So for a lot of people, it's no big deal. They get on an airplane over. But for people who you'd be surprised if you know somebody who's the pilot of the plane and you have a trust in them, you feel like, well, they're okay. So I can trust them. And there's a certain sense of that. Trust, especially in something that we've been told for years how long it takes to get a vaccine through. We've been told for years how long it takes as far as the rules and regulations just to go from we have an idea to we think we had it to we're going to practice on a mouse, then we're going to move up to a pig, and from a pig we're going to go to a monkey, and from a monkey we're going to try it on humans, and it takes forever. And then all of a sudden, boom, here it is. But if you trust a person who you put your kind of health in their hands, I think you're more apt to do it. I think you're more apt to do it. And that's why I think the Johnson & Johnson, one shot, no special storage. You can keep it at room temperature. Put it in your fridge next to the ham sandwich, and away you go. I think that trust side of things will help. And even if it's like a Walgreens or CVS, where, I get my prescriptions filled there. And so I'm familiar. There's a familiar sound surrounding. And I think that will help for a lot of people as well. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. We're going to talk a little bit more about this throughout the day as we get into the NFL and the Super Bowl. But there are issues within the NFL that is really kind of disturbing when it comes to what's happening with that concussion thing. You remember the concussion thing? Kind of went away. NFL ended up giving almost $1 billion to take care of people. Well, now things are coming out about how the players are being taken care of as far as how they're looking at the reports of each player. And the woke league may not be as woke as you think. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. All right. Let's talk about CarShield. Like protecting. You guys know that. Right? You guys know I like protecting you. Of course I do. So that's why I tell you get CarShield. I want you to call CarShield and say, all right, here's the deal. Describe the car you have, right? From 5,000, 150,000 miles, whatever it is, you call them up. Say, hey, you know what? I've got a X, Y, and Z. And this is what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the engine. I'm worried about the inside of my car, the electronics. Or maybe you're like, I don't have any of that, but I am worried about my transmission and maybe the AC and heating. They got a plan that's right for you. Plan starts as low as $99 a month. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop you choose. You can take it back to the dealership. They'll get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Be specific when you call them. They've helped over 1 million drivers. They're America's #1 auto protection company. They can help you. Call them today, 800-665-2157. 800-665-2157. Use code Benson. When you do that, you save 10%, or you check them out online. CarShield.com. CarShield.com. Code Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's talk about the things that are trending around the world, as well as in the United States of America. Start with our friends over at Google. Love me some Google. The crazy stuff, right? Google does. But it's just, when you go look at the difference between like how Twitter trends, especially if you've kind of got it set up for yourself, and how Google trends, it just also shows you just like where I think we think in sometimes, especially in the talk radio world and stuff, like everybody believes and thinks about politics 24/7. It's just not true. Golden Globes, biggest trender yesterday. Lil Uzi Vert. Most of you have no idea. Trended huge yesterday. What? Yeah. Like, more people searched for Lil Uzi Vert who says he could die if a diamond on his forehead isn't removed right away. Because, you know, a diamond. Apparently, he had an implant of a diamond on his dome. More people searched for that than Liz Cheney and whether or not she got to hold on to her GOP leadership position because she voted for impeachment, which she did, by the way. Chris Pratt got canceled again, except for the part where he actually got canceled. TJ Osborne, country singer, came out. He's gay. Don't care. Are you any good at what you do? I don't. At this point, I'm just going back to why would you have? I don't know. Like, I get excited. Like, here's the weird thing. People think that's cool, man. He got a diamond in his head. That's cool. I don't know who thinks that's cool, but some people probably do. And they're going to look at that and go, oh, my God. I look over and I'm like, oh, man, I'm pumped because hopefully this year Elon Musk is going to, they're going to do the chips in the head. And I'm like, I've always said, let's do it. I'll learn Spanish, Kung Fu, learn Mandarin and Cantonese all in a day. Heck yeah. By the way, just because you learn Kung Fu doesn't mean you can still pull all the stuff off. You may know how to do it, but you may not be able to pull it off. Also trending, on this day, we go back 3 years ago.
Game. 4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
That's right. The Philly special. 3 years ago today, that took place. And Morgan Wallan is trending. He is a country star that is no longer going to be a star. Already's got the controversy with this guy anyways. He was supposed to host Saturday Night Live, be the singer, and then he was caught in October, like a couple days before, with pictures of him at a party with no mask, so they kicked him off Saturday Night Live, and he apologized for that. And then if you thought that was like, oh, that was a stupid move for your career, this one, sir, well, this one right here, this was the doozy.
The video catching Wallan and some friends outside his house in Nashville. Wallan saying goodbye to his pals when he uses the N-word.
Hey, Gracie, take care of this.
The video on TMZ, Wallan saying in a statement he's embarrassed and sorry. He used an unacceptable and inappropriate racial slur. He wishes he could take it back, and he promises to do better. But that likely won't be enough. With his current album #1 on the country charts, Variety reporting Wallan's music has been removed from playlists on radio stations and streaming services. He's been suspended by his label. And black country singer Mickey Guyton tweeting, quote, "The hate runs deep."
Yeah. So, this guy's going to be canceled forever. I don't see him coming back in any real way. I mean, like video, he's just gone. Like, they've erased him. Country music, they're not playing anything. He is just, you got to think about that for just a second, though. I mean, just think about, you think you got the world at your fingertips. You're 27, you're on The Voice, right? And you've gone from there. Your debut album, and then you moved over to, was it the Big Dog Records or whatever, which I think was Toby Keith's thing. And then from there, you've got now the #1, song, and you've got all of this stuff, and you were supposed to host Saturday Night Live, and you made an idiotic move there. And now you think, well, okay, I've got everything going now, because now my song's #1. Now the album's pop. This is it. I'm like the it guy, and it's over. Like, it's done. And we always go back to that. Is there forgiveness? Is there forgiveness? Is there room for forgiveness? Is there room for a mea culpa that's real and a timeout, and then you come back and that's not for me to say. I always think there's forgiveness for people. I think we should be able to forgive people, but it's a different world now. It is a completely different world. And that what he did was completely unacceptable. By all accounts, it was. Like, we know that. But, you got to ask you, what the hell were you thinking? 2 days ago, you thought you had everything going for you. And now, you're a pariah that is going to lose everything. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The number of Americans filing first-time claims for unemployment benefits dropped last week by more than analysts here on Wall Street were expecting.
Which is good, because it's about the economy, stupid. The economy, the economy, the economy. And as goes and has gone the coronavirus, so goes the economy. For a few people out there, life's been pretty good. For a majority of people, there's been struggles, fears, and worries. But I think there's optimism in the future. And as the vaccine gets out there and is more prevalent and is more accessible, you're going to find that I think the confidence inside of what we've been through and inside of us as far as spending and getting back out there and participating is going to grow as well. But a lot of that is predicated on how the rollout goes and how fast we can get it done.
All analysts and economists that I have been speaking with, they say the number one deciding factor into how we go forward, whether it's corporate America health, individuals' financial health, it is all about these vaccine rollouts. The more efficient that they can be, the more we can get back on track. And a lot of people saying, if these vaccine rollouts can be a little bit more efficient, we have a roaring 20s waiting for us just around the corner.
Because that's what happens, right? We've been bottled up. We haven't been able to go to our favorite restaurant. And if we've gone, it's been awkward. Outside, a few people in there, it just doesn't have the same feel. We haven't gone and saw a movie. We haven't been to a sporting event live. And it's just, even if you've gone to these things, there's still something about it that doesn't feel normal. We haven't spent money. Yes, we've got stuff coming from the Amazon world. But I go back to, there's just still something missing. The hustle and bustle of seeing a parking lot that's full at work and people do it. And school, kids, school, going through school, going to school, to do your homework. What was school like today? Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about that. Oh, my God, going to see them play in a play or a sporting event, all of that stuff. And there is behind this, I think, an opportunity to take off. Some sectors, it is going to take a while. There's no doubt because they've fallen so behind the eight ball. And, you know, one of them is the travel industry, because we're all wanting to do something. We're all wanting to go somewhere. I got a memory from like pops up on your phone, and it was like a week or two ago, and it was we're all hanging out with Jack in San Diego. And I was like, oh, that was so much fun. It feels like a forever ago. But if you think about that, I go see my son when times are normal. I try to get out there and spend as much time with him as I can. The blessing in this is, and it's weird to say this, but for me, has been the fact that he spent way more time here than ever before because he's homeschooled. So I pick him up, or his mom meets in the middle, and we get him, we bring him back, and he's here for 2-3 weeks at a time. We're getting him next Thursday. Very excited about it. And he'll be here for, 2-3 weeks, which is great. He loves it. That's been a blessing. But if you think about what I would add to an economy where I would travel out there, stay 2-3 nights out there, spending money in hotels, going places, eating out, seeing movies, and all of those things, that's gone. And I do miss it. So there's a lot to it, but having the confidence, and people are chomping at the bit to get out there, but there's still going to be things like the airline industry. That is going to take a while. The amount of money they have lost has been tremendous. The hospitality industry is going to take a while, and there's a psychological effect across the board because there's still going to be people out there that are going to be worried that the vaccine won't work, and so they're going to be hesitant to get out there. They're so used to, and they've been so conditioned over the last several months that mask, 6 feet, all of that stuff, there's going to be, like, even now, how many of you watch television? You see people without a mask, and like, oh, what are they? Oh, yeah, that's, or you see something, like a picture from, and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember. Because we've become kind of conditioned to it. It's become very habit. So you'll have people that are worried about that, so they won't be going out as much. And it's also psychologically, there's going to be people that are waiting for something else now? What's the next thing where they have to shut us down? What's the next thing where they have to do this? Is this thing comes back? How does that work? And are we going to get shut down again? So maybe I'm being hesitant spending money. But I think once we get through that, I think by the fourth quarter this year, when the kids are back in school, they're not wearing masks, teachers are teaching, arguments with kids are happening. Won't it be nice when your kid comes home and says, so-and-so is mean to me? And you're like, oh my God, that's great. Just feels normal. Yeah, totally. But I think once we get past that and people feel comfortable and that kind of like, all right, it's like being in an airplane, you're scared to fly, you hear bing, and you're like, oh, okay, good. Get up now, move around. That's when I think things are really going to take off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. We were talking about Morgan Wallan, who's the country singer who seemed to have everything at his feet, and then yesterday it leaked to TMZ that he was saying goodbye to his friends
when he uses the N-word.
Hey, Gracie, take care of this.
Yeah. Now he's been dropped from everything, and it is just amazing to think about. Like, that's it. Like, dude, you're done. There's probably no coming back, and I don't know you. I don't know what's in your heart. You may have thought you were funny, you were drunk, you were joking with your friends, and you thought it was appropriate, but nobody cares in this day and age. Nobody does. Nobody cares about, and you could have 50 friends that come out and say it was a joke, he was kidding around, and it still wouldn't matter. And some of that is perception, right? Well, what's some of the perception? Okay, well, it's pretty easy. He's from Tennessee. Southern accent, country western singer. Oh, yeah, there's some of that. Supposed to host Saturday Night Live or be the guest singer or whatever it was. October, where was he? He's at a party, without a mask, anti-masker, so that must mean Trump supporter, uber right-winger. So you have to be a racist. Kind of a mullet, too, so that doesn't help. It's just bad fashion, but still. But to think like that. And when race on everybody's mind, all the time, especially for a lot of people out there, we were talking the other day, what's the thing they're getting rid of now? Yes. They're getting rid of everything. But our favorite this week was we have to get rid of NASA because of, English-speaking kids get it fine potentially, but people don't maybe understand it if they're from a different countries. So, we have to get rid of this. We have to get rid of this over here because Lincoln was, he lived in a time of racism. And even though he led the movement and was the president, and it cost him his life for the Civil War and the Emancipation, the reality is because he lives as guilt by association, so we're going to get rid of your name and because you're inherently racist. Because it lives on people's minds. Like, this is a perfect example. Here's a 20-something TikToker, as Anthony likes to call him, a philosopher, who's lived zero life. Right? You think you know a lot of stuff, and as you get older, you start to realize, you don't know anything.
I am the oppressor. I am racist. Oh my God, he just said he's racist. It shouldn't be this hard, you guys. If you live in America, went to school, participate in the socioeconomic structures, participate in any sort of system, education, business, entertainment, what have you, and you are white, you are indoctrinated, you are oppressive, and yes, you are racist. It is something that we have learned, either consciously or subconsciously, all of us as white Americans. And what we have to do is unlearn that.
So he, being a 20-something-year-old, is teaching you how to unlearn the fact that you're racist. Because race is top of mind for everything. And look, we all have biases. To say that we don't have biases. And let's first of all paint what racism and bias is. If you're a poor white person living in a trailer park somewhere with nothing going for you, in debt, and you hate Jewish people, you're anti-Semitic, because you think that they run all the banks, control all the media, and they're keeping you down, for whatever reason, that's where your focus and blame is, or Hispanics or whoever, you're a bigot. You're not racist. You have no power. So you have to have some power. You have none. And biases are different too. I like girls who've got curves. I like tall girls. I like tall guys. I like this. I like that. There's biases. And I think we throw, there's words out there that we throw around way too easy. We call people racist. We call people Nazis. We call people homophobes or transphobes. We call people things. It's like, when you were a kid, your mom's like, when you're in your first relationship, be careful about throwing that word love around because it's and I think this is true. I think we throw it around because it's an easy thing to do. In a lot of ways, it's also the way to kill a conversation or argument where you think you're throwing the microphone down. So this guy's doing it for us all because we're all racist. If you're white and you've bought anything, you bought a chocolate bar, racist. You like to bowl, racism.
I'm trying to do the work. Part of doing the work is pushing against dangerous narratives that are counterintuitive to that unlearning, like white people are also oppressed by racism. We're not. We are the oppressors. That's the point. You should be doing the unlearning too. Do the work.
Doesn't that sound like Niles? Was that his name? Is that Kramer's brother? Not Kramer. It was
Frazier.
Kelsey Grammer's brother. Whatever his name was in that show. Frazier, right? Do the work. Do the work. So funny. Oh, my God. It's weird, man. She's got it. It's a weird thing. It is. And we're all afraid to talk about stuff. We're afraid of hurting someone's feelings. We're afraid of being honest with one another. More people are interested in looking like they're woke and they're all of these things and allies than they are whether or not they even believe that. Or they believe some of this stuff is ridiculous. More people are willing to say we should have people get second chances or coming out of prison that 20 years ago they committed a heinous crime where they did something horrible and they should get a second chance, where somebody tweets something 8 years ago and all of a sudden now we have to get rid of them. It's insane. And this is the fight that we have right now. And I tell everybody, the fight you think on Capitol Hill as far as, over this bill or that bill, and we're going to go to a civil war, we're not. This is the war where it starts. And it starts by being honest with one another, having a conversation, but also thicker skin. And we must stop taking things personally, which is so hard to do, apparently. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Talk a little NFL Super Bowl, baby. We're going to talk about more prop bets. Got some interesting ones out there. Home title lock. Cyber criminals are everywhere. And this is interesting. So you'll read the news once or twice a week, right? You see, hackers take over a hospital and kill all of their systems and say, unless you pay me X amount of dollars, cash or Bitcoin, we won't give you access to any of your records. And they just go and do it because it's easier to do. People do this now with your title to your home, and it's pretty simple. Everything's public record. They spend a couple bucks in some cases, or in many cases, they don't have to. It's all out there. They go, they get your street address, your name. Oh, there's your title. I've got it. Now what I'm going to do is forge everything over to me. Fake notary, and away I go. Now I have quit claim the deed to me. I essentially own your house because you either thrown me on it or sold it to me. I'm going to start taking loans out. And you're screwed. That's why you need Home Title Lock. Protect you from that. Easier to steal your home than a car and far more profitable. Home Title Lock will alert you to anything that's happening with your title. If somebody changes a comma, you'll know about it. Right now, you don't have that. Also, if somebody gets by Home Title Lock, guess what they do? They're going to give you $250,000 to help fight them in court, because the amount of money that you may lose for your house, you couple that with the amount of money that you have to spend when you go to court to try to fight this thing off, is insane. Don't let that happen to you. Protect your home now with Home Title Lock. Go to HometitleLock.com. Register your address. See if you're already a victim. Use code RADIO. 30 days free protection. Right there. That's Home Title Lock. Code RADIO. Home Title Lock. Code RADIO. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
It was like any other Amber Alert, including a description of the kidnapping suspect, a white male, red hair, blue eyes, 28 years old, and wearing blue overalls. Police even had the perpetrator's name, Chucky. Yes, that Chucky.
I'm gonna get you!
The foul-mouthed homicidal doll from the Child's Play movies. Without being specific, the Texas DPS says the alert was sent as a result of a test malfunction.
Yeah, we don't want Chucky. Trust me, if somebody kidnapped Chucky, just let it go. They'll be the ones that'll be sorry. Little something you guys didn't know about me. Saw Chucky in the movie theaters twice. Did you guys know that? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Super Bowl this weekend. Obviously, bets are important. Gambling is the reason that, for a lot of people, if you look, one of the reasons that football is so popular, and it really exploded over the last 20 years where it became the sport. It became the religion for so many here in America. So what are some of the things? We're going over prop bets. Belichick, over under 1. How many times will Belichick be named? Not the coach of either team. Obviously, though, 20 years, him and Brady together, 9 Super Bowls, 5 wins, or is it 6 wins? I don't even know how many. I think it's 6 wins. You look, there is, it's nuts. Their connection. Over under is 1. Now, that's during the game. Does not count at halftime or commercials, but during the game. During the game. How many times will the chains be used for measurements? Over under is 1.5. That's where the guys come out with those big orange things and they measure to see if it went 10 yards. Is the ball get over there? Oh, and then they, if it's a yard short or a couple inches, they'll stand up and they'll go like 1.5 inches. Over under is 1.5. Over under 1.5. What will the price of Bitcoin rise or fall during the Super Bowl? Will there be one? Bitcoin goes up or Bitcoin goes down? You can, yes, bet on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Check out all the social media. We do social media stuff there, and stuff and junk. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Signs of a vaccine breakthrough. Researchers in the UK saying the AstraZeneca vaccine may slow the transmission of COVID, and a single dose is 76% effective. It's still not available here in the U.S. It's in late-stage trials, but has not been approved by the FDA. Former CDC Director Tom Frieden.
The AstraZeneca company has not provided the kind of transparent information that the other companies have, but it has some very favorable characteristics.
Yeah, it does. As do Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson's best characteristics, it's pretty simple. One shot. Old technology and one shot. That's it. Convenience. I only have to go here once. Yeah, that's it. That's one time. I can go to my doctor. Go to your doctor. I go to Walgreens, CVS. Absolutely. You go wherever they've got it. Get it. One shot. We're moving on. Okay, cool. Fantastic. And the other thing about Johnson & Johnson, to me, that has the biggest advantage, and there's funny things. You look at it, like old technology, new technology. People are hesitant about new technology. They are. I mean, it's you go back 25, 30 years. I remember my mom, like, go back. I remember when ATMs you try to explain this to your kids and they don't quite get, they're used to, now ATMs, heck, they don't even have money. They can swipe their phone. I've got that for mine. I go up, boop, and I move on. We're talking about Bitcoin and blockchain and all these things. There used to be a time where you had to write checks. Some people still do, but there used to be a time where the bank was closed. It was closed. Getting money, you may have to try to write a check to a liquor store or to you go into your grocery store and they'd let you write a check. And then came the ATM. My mother was terrified of that. She's like, no way the wall should give you money. No way the wall should give you money. No way. Then the computer, when it really came out, people were hesitant of technology. They were scared of technology because this future stuff is weird. And some of that stuff with the mRNA, which is the Pfizer and all that stuff, it feels a little different. You got to go a place to get a shot. I got to go over here and I got to make an appointment. And when I go over this place, it's like a weird kind of environment where I'm driving through tents and they're giving me a shot. It feels very militaristic. And there are other people like this, Johnson & Johnson. DNA, old school, been around a while, right? It's one shot. You go, you can get it anywhere because there's no special way to keep this thing. You can put it in a regular refrigeration, room temperature. You go, you get your shot. You can go to your doctor. Trust your doctor. Doctor knows everything about you. Doctor's seen all your private parts. Doctor knows everything from top to bottom about you. I trust you. You say it's good, it's good. And that's going to help because as we move forward, the economy is looking at the vaccine. As it goes and it starts to become more prevalent, so shall we in getting out there.
All analysts and economists that I have been speaking with, they say the number one deciding factor into how we go forward, whether it's corporate America health, individuals' financial health, it is all about these vaccine rollouts. The more efficient that they can be, the more we can get back on track. And a lot of people saying, if these vaccine rollouts can be a little bit more efficient, we have a roaring 20s waiting for us just around the corner.
Yeah. I think that's real. Got the opportunity to get out there. Deidre Bolden right there. Have you seen who's talking about that? She's been on Fox and everywhere else, risk reward, all these things that she's done. She knows business. She understands what's going on. And it's very real when it comes to what we're all chomping at the bit to do. Travel, spend money. Kids back in school, they're going to need clothes. My business feels like it's okay. I feel like my finances. Credit Sesame says a majority of Americans feel that this year, financially, they're going to be okay. They're coming from way back for a lot of them. And they're moving forward, they think now, because we're through it. Now we got a vaccine. We see light at the end of the tunnel. There's confidence. And I think that'll show. It's probably going to be the latter part of the year when we feel like we're okay. We've got our sea legs. Life is good. Let's get going. Where we put some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff behind us in the fear, because there's still going to be some residual. People still going to be afraid. I think some people of, can they wash their hands still, wear a mask? They're going to be afraid to be in a room full of people because they don't know. I think that'll dissipate, but it'll happen. And then once that happens, boom, we're off. Which is what we do because that's who we are in this country. That's a good thing. I like it. I want to see a Super Bowl next year where we got 60,000 people or 70. I don't know how big that stadium is out there. SoFi or whatever it is out there in L.A. I think that's where they're hosting it. I mean, I have no idea. Nobody's ever in there except for the teams. We'll see that place rocking. I want to see college football booming next year. I want to go to movies. And I want to spend money. I think most people do. But the vaccine will play a huge role in a lot of things. And having access fast is huge, but also having it in places where you feel comfortable. Even if you go and you go, I get my pharmacist is here. And they have that little thing. And I trust, I see these people. When I go get a shot in a parking lot somewhere, I don't know who any of these people are. It's just nameless, faceless. So I think some of all the reports out as 1 in 4 Americans, I think that'll go down a little bit, a lot of it, because I think a lot of people are vaccine hesitant or worried about a lot of things. Being in a much comfortable, more familiar surroundings and situation, I think will make it better for some people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I have to play it. It's just insane. First of all, can we talk about the insanity that is Marjorie Taylor Greene? Can we? I mean, just because, well, she's just, she's nuts. They're going to vote on her today, whether to get rid of her committee things. Is she part of QAnon? Does she understand QAnon?
I denounce all those comments that were brought up. Everybody, and she came inside our conference and denounced them as well.
She denounced them. All the stuff that she supposedly did and some things that she did do and things that she said in the past that she's now denounced them. Of course, you're trying to save your butt, but then she also says, I don't feel like I have anything to apologize about. And, it's stupid. It is. It's stupid, but here we are. So they're going to vote on her today. But the QAnon stuff, can we all admit, it's scary. And this guy brings it to light, I think, how most people feel about it. But he does it with a great accent. You would almost say, oh, they got this guy from Central Casting. There's no way they can get this guy from Central Casting. He can't be real. He is. And I just Cage and Travolta. 2 names synonymous with a horribly, awesomely bad movie in 1997. That's all you need to know.
You know what ticks me off? QAnon. That's what. QAnon. I don't need to explain anything. I'm just going to read you something that should make any rational person run away in flames because this is off-the-charts wacko shit. What I'm about to read you was posted on January 13th, 1 week before the inauguration. Here it is. Word for word. It's short. So just hang in there for 30 seconds. Okay? Here we go.
30 seconds. Hang in there. So you got this guy, right? Icarus or whatever, the Brave. His Twitter handle. He's reading this stuff. Now, I said Cage and I said Travolta. And you'll see why. So think about this. Let's just roll back really quick. Let's get in our Chad Benson Show time machine. We go back. So we're back 12 months or so. Life is good. Things are rocking, right? The economy's good. We all feel good. Super Bowl just finished. Woo, party. And all of a sudden, all the stuff's going on. Between a year ago and now, coronavirus, massive unemployment, an insane election, the rise of insanity in the internet when it comes to QAnon and all these conspiracies, and yes, the attack on the Capitol. Well, QAnon's got to be done, right? They're all turning against Trump because of, the thing, that they all realized it was a bunch of crap. Oh, no. Gets better.
Joe Biden has been arrested. The deep state is in disarray and has struck a deal with the Trump administration. There will be an experimental surgery that will exchange the faces of Biden and Trump. This isn't even the insane part. Oh, it gets better. You ready? Here we go. So when you watch Biden's inauguration, you'll really be watching Trump being sworn in for a second term. And when you are watching the Trump trials, that is really Biden paying for his crimes. Also, when Trump, as Biden, stammers or slurs his words, that's because Trump is still learning to duplicate his speech patterns. Now, what I just read, which was a social media post by QAnon, actually isn't the thing that disturbs me.
So that does not disturb him. Some things disturb him. That's not one of them. When we come back, we're going to talk about what disturbs him. Because, first of all, he's absolutely right. And secondly, he's hilarious. That's not the thing that disturbs me. You know what disturbs me? Do you? Yeah, I know what disturbs you. What is that? You don't have ExpressVPN. Oh, look what I did there. Oh, look, Bob Weave. ExpressVPN's great. Everybody needs a VPN, especially in a day and age when you have crazies that are out there. But you also know, And as we've learned over the last several years is things like free social media isn't free because you are paying for it. You're paying for it with your data, who you are, your searches, all of that stuff. It's valuable to them. You're the bait. That's how they make money. Drive you crazy. That's why with ExpressVPN, virtual private network, what is it? You're hiding your IP address. You're making your activity so much more difficult to trace and to sell to advertisers. It's like you're invisible, which is what you want. What's more, ExpressVPN encrypts 100% of your data to protect you from eavesdroppers on your network, which is great, and it's easy. We like convenience. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what they've done. One tap of a button on your phone, on your computer, boom, you're protected. Oh, that sounds great, Chad, because I love that. Plus, there's a lot of things you can do. So you can set your IP address all over the place. You can watch, I'm going to let you guys in, Netflix is different all over the world. Yeah, they have some of the same, but you want to watch British shows? Well, you can have a Netflix British with the IP address, and you can watch their shows, and it's simple. Yeah. No way. Yeah, really. So it's got to be expensive, right? No. It's like 16 cents a day. Get to it. ExpressVPN.com/Benson. When you sign up for a year package, they're going to throw in an extra 3 months. Do it. It's great for you. It's great for your searching and your data and your protecting of yourself, which is what we want, because we don't want to give access to all of this stuff to them. Your data is important. ExpressVPN.com/Benson. ExpressVPN.com/Benson. Oh, this guy, we're going to play him. I mean, just like listen to him.
What I just read, which was a social media post by QAnon, actually isn't the thing that disturbs me.
No, that's not. Wait till you hear what does. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
So before we were rudely interrupted, we're talking about QAnon, and we're talking about this guy named Iculus the Brave. It's on Twitter, reading some of the stuff that the QAnon people now are believing and pushing out there about what took place. And he was talking about the fact that now the new thing is, well, we'll let him tell you.
Joe Biden has been arrested. The deep state is in disarray and has struck a deal with the Trump administration. There will be an experimental surgery that will exchange the faces of Biden and Trump.
So that's the new thing they believe. There's an experimental thing that has taken place where they've faced off. Like that movie, Cage and Nicolas Cage and Travolta. One was the terrorist, and the other one was the good guy. And there was a bomb, and it was going to explode. Oh, no. But the guy's in a coma now. Well, that's okay, because we're going to do face-off. So they say the face-off thing. And that's what they think. But that's not what bothered this guy. That now Trump has been sworn in as Joe Biden. No worries. Like, we're not talking about Jill Biden. And Biden was okay with it. And he's now going to be on trial in the Senate for all of his crimes. And people are buying this because it's deep state. That's not what made this guy angry. No. What did make Iculus the Brave angry?
Crazy people are crazy people. They've been around forever. You know what disturbs me? The completely insane and stupid people who can actually believe something like this for 1 second. Has a certain portion of our society become so tainted and weak and desperate and delusional that they could actually believe something like this? There are people who believe that Trump and Biden have reached an agreement to swap faces surgically so Trump can be president and Biden can be tried for his crimes. I don't even know where to begin with something like this. I mean, holy almighty.
Biden is 6 feet tall, just to let you guys know. All right? Biden is 6 feet tall. Donald Trump is 6'3". So face swapping But then you got to swap the bad hair. There's so much. Well, Chad, nobody really believes. You don't think people really bought into this? You don't think that people did? Might I remind you?
Did you at the time believe that high-level Democrats and celebrities were worshiping Satan, drinking the blood of children?
Anderson, I thought you did that. And I would like to apologize for that right now. So I apologize for thinking that you ate babies.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think people would, because people have lost the plot. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The media is struggling. How to cover Biden, how to attack Biden. Oh, my God, the cash cow's gone. We're going to touch on that. Plus some Super Bowl prop bets. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The more that the mainstream media continues to come out and say that all Republicans are birthers and crazy people and we believe in space lasers, then the more it makes traditional Republicans, and there's still a lot of them in the country, go back into their corners. And this is becoming very tribal. And I would argue that this is how we got Trump in the first place, is that there's just no nuance in it.
Meghan McCain from the other day. We touched a bit on that. Marjorie Taylor Greene she's the fact that she kept any of her committee positions and that the Republicans didn't take her off, and the Democrats are going to vote today to remove her on some stuff. But again, you get sucked into the QAnon stuff and the humor of it, but there are people out there that buy into it and they use it. We've seen how the power of the internet. Take away QAnon. Look what happened with GameStop, right? Remember the whole GameStop thing? What did I say first and foremost when that first happened? I said, you know what, guys? Don't be surprised if there are other people behind this that may have more than we're the little guy. And sure enough, there were other people that they're now looking at who have other funds that profited quite handsomely to the tune of almost $1 billion. So, but it shows the power of the internet, right? You got influencers who are influencing all kinds of things. And why we laugh at that, but the media plays a huge part in this as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the stuff that she's said in the past, I don't know her. And it's a broad brush that's painted across the board. Meghan McCain was absolutely right about that. And there's a battle going on. But the media needs that. The media needs their villains and their heroes. You're not going to watch them just deliver the same old same. We don't do it that way. We want bits and pieces. Only give me the spicy. I don't need to know all the other stuff. Well, all the other stuff is things that's most important, but people want the spicy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is that battle is real that's going on in the Republican Party compared to Liz Cheney, for God's sakes. Liz Cheney, who thought she voted her conscience. Now, people argue your dad is a war criminal and all this stuff, but she felt she had to vote her conscience, and you've got the battle of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Liz Cheney. It's nuts. It is. Now, Liz Cheney, she kept her gig, but there was like a standing ovation for Marjorie. Oh, yeah, we're not going to get rid of her. You've got people coming out like Kevin McCarthy, who should have went out there and said, hey, look, I don't do crazy. I'm not going to get into this right now. But let me tell you something. You're going to be the face of stuff going forward and the battle. And I know you think you have nothing to apologize for, but I've heard some of the stuff. I've seen some of the stuff. I got issues with it. You're a congressperson. We're not going to get rid of you. But what we are going to do is we're going to pull you off stuff. And if you want to get back to it, you're going to come back to the world of not insane. And that may take some time. Outside of that, learn, ask questions, but otherwise be quiet. But instead, they're running around.
If we are now going to start judging what other members have said before they're even members of Congress, I think it's going to be a hard time for the Democrats to place anybody on committee.
Yeah, both sides have their issues. Let's be real. Ilhan Omar, come on. But that's the ad hominem we have, right? Everybody's making arguments with arguments. Well, they did this. Police your own. And yes, the mainstream media eats it up. Absolutely 110%. Soledad O'Brien talks about what's going on right now.
Political reporters need to be rebranded as government reporters, covering problems and who's trying to solve them, instead of which party is winning today's messaging war. And I think this is a really good idea. I don't think it'll ever happen, but it makes so much sense, right? That if you go back to the original concept of how are we serving the public? How are we informing people? Are we bringing truth? Are we elevating information and not misinformation?
No, what's the entertainment value of it all? How can I use it? What's the entertainment value in this that's going to get people to watch, to pay attention? Trump was it for the last 5+ years. Trump was it in the 80s for the back pages in the society in New York. He was that philanthropist, supposedly he always painted himself. I'm a philanthropist, playboy, real estate developer. I'm good looking. Look at me. I'm a billionaire running around New York. He was on the back pages all the time. Then you flash forward all these years. Next thing you know, he's president and running up to president, and he's a cash cow. But I said, and I continue to say it, when he's gone, you guys haven't gotten more interesting. Not at all. And you like the ratings. Look at CNN's ratings since he's left. MSNBC. Fox has kind of held steady. Normally, the power that's in party, their news sources kind of, they hold, they'll either, they'll fall, and you've got that going on with MSNBC and CNN right now. And then Fox, they're not in power as far as, the right side of the aisle, so they can attack and do things. It's a business. You guys weren't interesting. The person you covered was. So now you need something else. Well, both sides have their villain at this moment in time. And it's not Schumer, and it's not Mitch, and it's not, Kevin McCarthy or Nancy Pelosi. It is none of those. No. It's not Nancy Pelosi. She's been the villain but the Squad and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Perfect villains to fight each other. That's what it's all about. Right? Both of them, if you're honest with yourself. Ilhan, sorry, some of the stuff you said, gonna be honest with you, and not good. Kind of get a little bit of a free pass. AOC, everything is about you all the time. You're more interested in the celebrity, and you've said stuff like last week, nobody called you on it for real outside of the right-leaning media, but nobody in real media goes, Ted Cruz didn't try to have you killed. He didn't. Now, you may not have liked the fact that they wanted to object on that day, the 6th, what took place, Josh Hawley and him, but the Democrats objected. If we go back, Bush v. Gore. Oh, they did? Yeah. Bush and Kerry. And 4 years ago, Trump and Hillary. Do I think they knew what was going to happen? No. Do I think they played into some of it? Yes. Do I think that some of them were using it to raise their profile? Absolutely. He did not try to have you killed. Nobody calls you on it. The scary thing is people play this game in the media and people buy it up.
Sort of this idea that politics is a game and it's a football that gets tossed back and forth, and moving it into how do you solve problems, I think would be very useful on a lot of fronts.
But it's not entertaining, Soledad. It's not entertaining. News media has something that they have to do, as well as media across the board, that they didn't have to do 20 years ago. They've got competition for eyeballs. They have the internet. Changed the world. Greatest invention ever, potentially, the internet. Wild, wild west. Computers technology has changed everything. CNN's competition, well, it's Fox and MSNBC. It's YouTube. Louder with Crowder. It's on YouTube. Go look at his numbers. Tim Pool, go look at his numbers. Mr. Beast. Guy who is just a dude giving away stuff, having fun. There is your issue, as much as anything else. So to get people to pay attention, you got to have other things. So you need a monster and you need a hero, and vice versa. The people that get stuff done in D.C., you don't know who they are. They're behind the scenes. They're negotiating, sometimes for senators and congresspeople, and sometimes they are senators and congresspeople, and they're going in there. The strings that are getting pulled, right now, it's about dollar bills. More likes, more shares, more views, more money. And you're not going to get that with C-SPAN. You don't. I enjoy watching that. I'm a bit of a policy wonk. But I'll tell you what, you turn it on there, sometimes you'll see a guy giving a really good speech or a gal giving a really good speech. You know who's there? Nobody. So it's a business. And with business, you need product. And the product is chaos, craziness. And we have now found out who the new up-and-coming players are in the next chapter, in the next episode. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. We're looking at prop bets, Super Bowl. Prop bets are fun. They got all kinds of crazy prop bets. They got prop bets on, they got prop bets on the Puppy Bowl. Team Fluff, Team Rough. Bet on that. You could bet on that. Team Fluff versus Team Rough. You can bet on the color of Gatorade that will be dumped on the winning coach. Really? Yeah. You can do that. The color of Gatorade being dumped on the coach. You can bet on if there's going to be a 2-point conversion. Plus 130, yes. Will there be a missed extra point? Plus 250. No, minus 300. Since they've moved the the extra point back. Remember it used to be 20 yards? Like a lineman can make it. Like it was just one of their, like, it's too easy. You know, guys are like, they haven't missed in 8 years. So they moved it back to 33. Somehow that must have been something they did that said mentally there's a weird block between guys who can hammer a ball from 50 and are great from 30 and in, but they struggle at this distance. Since 2015, out of 7,328 extra points, they've only hit 6,875. So 7,328 attempted, 68-75 made. That's a 94% rate. So you can bet on that. Will either team score in the first 5 minutes? Minus 110, yes. Minus 110, no. What will happen first? Bucks scores, Bucks punt. Plus 105. So lots of things in there you can bet on. Color of hats. When it comes to, what the coach will be wearing. What's the face mask? Will Andy Reid or Bruce Arians, you can bet on their face mask. Will he wear that, one of them wears the, is it Bruce? No, I think it's Andy Reid. He wears he sometimes wears a face mask and then that shield. I love this stuff. It's great. Man, you can bet on anything. It's nuts. Like you could bet, it's just so bizarre. You could bet like if a lineman will catch a pass. Well, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I'm getting pumped. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Still some fun stuff. We do that, kids. We give you fun stuff. We give you real stuff. We'll do a little bit of both straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
ABC News medical contributor Dr. Todd Ellerin explains how it works.
You give one vaccine as your initial or prime dose, and then the second vaccine is a different one.
Ellerin says they've tried it with other shots, and they've had success.
If this is promising, then this could really change the face of vaccine shortages.
They will start out with AstraZeneca and Pfizer and then move on from there. The AstraZeneca vaccine has not yet been approved here in the United States.
Yeah, as we get closer and closer to hopefully getting a ton of vaccines out there, and it's about choice, that maybe the mixture is going to help. Maybe you're going to get 70% protection from Moderna, and this will, instead of giving you an extra 5 or 10%, the booster, this may even boost it up to 100%. And we know with Johnson & Johnson, while it's at 66%, and it's a one shot, Johnson & Johnson's the one shot. The one thing about Johnson & Johnson that sets it apart to me, that makes it most important, is the convenience. And I think if you've got, most people are probably going to lean towards that, because eventually it'll just be easier to get. Your doctor's going to have it, Walgreens, CVS, they're all going to get these. But when you break down how many vaccines are out there and how many Walgreens and CVS, what they say, it was like, a couple hundred vaccines at each one. Well, when you've got to get a ton of people vaccinated, Johnson & Johnson says we'll have 100 million dosages ready by summer. That'll be massive. The thing I like about Johnson & Johnson, besides the convenience, is the opportunity to go to your doctor and get it. But, and this is huge, according to the studies, nobody dies. You may get it, but it fights it. So even though it's only 66% as far as its range in protecting you, if you were to catch it, asymptomatic, maybe a little bit of fever, this, that, and the other, but the chances of you going to the hospital or dying are virtually nil. And you got to take down all the numbers too, because they tested it against the South African variant, and it was at like 56%, which is supposed to be the one that spreads. So that's huge, and that helps, because the economy is the thing that all economists say. Once we get through this, and there's enough vaccine, and people feel good, that the economy is going to take off. That means kids back in school, you're working, paychecks coming in, vacations, life back to normal. It'll take a while, but people are optimistic about that. I think that is huge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. This is very interesting. I was just talking to the guys. Tom Brady, the Super Bowl's this weekend, and he's a freak, right? Like, we could say a lot of different things, but about him, but to me, he is a freak of nature. That the things that he does, because how driven he is. And if you think about, like, a lot of people are driven. I told him I couldn't live like that. I couldn't live where, you don't eat ice cream. You stretch for 4 hours. I mean, it's his job. It's you sleep this many, you drink this water. You're not allowed to have that kind of discipline is insane. Now, I've disciplined in other areas. I just couldn't do that. I said, even when I was playing at Europe at a high level, for me, even in England, compared to the European, as they used to call it, the continent, the players trained in a much different way. It was a job over there. It was 8-10 hours of training. We didn't train that long. Dietitians, all that stuff. It is truly amazing what he does. And all of us have that kind of discipline in certain areas. But for me, there's no way. It's like, oh yeah, you can, you got to eat grass all day and one little piece of chicken. I'm like, no. I don't want to win that bad on that. I'll win somewhere else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. That's why I say when people say, oh my God, he's so lucky. No. Some luck plays into it. A lot of drive, determination to work. Have a blessed day. I see Friday. Do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
The Chad Benson Show.